Looking at that, like I saw something out the corner of my eye. Oh, maybe I didn't. It was hair caught on the microphone. Anyway, welcome back to the Bees Like That podcast. As always, I'm your host, Chris. And so far today, things are going really well. Don't know if you're interested in that, but they are. I'm doing great. And I wanted to reconnect with y'all about a Facebook post that I made the other day about addiction. So there's a common, I don't know how I want to term it, if I want to define it as a narrative or a belief or whatever, but usually the way that one will experience the discussion or topic of addiction is in a very dramatic and, dare I say, even theatrical way, because one way that I know for sure that things that emphasis is applied to certain topics, especially with regard to addiction, is not, I wouldn't necessarily say to embellish, but we want to emphasize and make dramatic and more impactful our experiences or the experience of active addiction, especially for those who are adjacent to the experience, who've not maybe even had a relative or friend or anyone close to them impacted by the disease. So one way that this happens is it's described as, I needed to find a solution to save my mind, my spirit, my psychology from immense and terrible trauma. That absolutely happens 100% of the time. Not 100% of the time, but that absolutely happens. And for the people who share that experience, they understand that this was real. This is a way out of pain and torment, right? I have elements of that to my story. However, there's a flip side to that coin. And it just so happens that there is a larger percentage of the addicted population who kind of became addicted by accident. And when I say by accident, I mean by repeating a pattern over time. And not that they were running from anything specifically, but maybe they were running toward something because they were bored. Straight up. Started out curious, bored, wanted something to do, looking for acceptance, kicking it with the homies, whatever, smoking a little weed, doing whatever, had their little first drink, their little wine cooler, whatever the case might be, bored. Now, this, as you can see, is a bit less entertaining. It's a bit less provocative. Nonetheless, very, very true. I'd be curious to know how many people started out that way. Which is, it's tough because I guess we all define trauma in different ways. I mean, I know that I do. I have a different definition of trauma than I think the people, some people in today's society do. Because today, it seems like everything is trauma. Any form of adversity or struggle or anything that is counter to pleasure and joy is trauma. Which, I don't know, that's a separate episode. It just seems kind of wacky to me. But I think to lean into that a little bit more, I wonder how many people who their experience into active addiction and physical dependence that started that way, how many of them struggled to be genuine, candid, and open when sitting in a room full of people who just had these wild ass stories from childhood, and who know their experience in their lived experience before addiction seems to have only left really one option for survival, right? Like emotionally and spiritually at one given point in time, and that was to begin using substances. How much of an impact that may have on a person who is inside the rooms or inside the halls, and how many of those people, in fact, manufacture experiences like those that so many of us share, just in an effort to be a part of and to fit in and to not feel like an imposter. Because then, no matter what, one thing that I know at one point, when it turns into whatever it turns into for us, we all deal with elements of that, especially trying to re-enter civilized or normie society, right? Struggling to find an aspect of an identity that isn't so far in the margins that we have struggles, finding our place and way along in the world, but isn't closer to a version of us that isn't accurate either. I don't know about you, but in my mind it seems like, at least today, that within the sequence of things being, or rank order rather, within the rank order of things being in sequence or in a sequence, that among the things higher to the, or closer to the point of being urgent or important, I don't know how easy it would be to say that fitting in this new community isn't pretty high fucking up there. And that, how easy it would be to have, this experience start out, recovery meaning recovery, having this experience start out relatively good and genuine, and then quickly deteriorate into like a multitude of different issues that didn't need to take place, because of fear and a need for acceptance. I mean, that small part of it, removed from recovery and just inserted into like childhood and adolescence, I get, because I've been there, but not in recovery, not this time anyway. At least this time for me in recovery, I came at this like, check this out, man. However I need to do this, meaning I intend to do this the most open, willing, and honest, brutally honest, rigorously honest way possible. That's what I gotta do. That's what I gotta do, because I don't intend to have this disease fucking kill me. At least not anytime soon. So that's what I did. So that described experience has not been a part of my recovery experience this time. And for that, I'm very grateful. And at the same time, I also recognize how, one, powerful anxiety is, and two, how easily it can weasel its way in and inform our daily decisions, especially regarding things like, recovery and, our professional persona and, how we experience the world around us and how we allow the people in the world around us to experience us, and how all of those things combined create this mosaic of either healing or a combination of healing and continued trauma, or healing and untreated trauma, or just straight up messiness and wreckage, and feeding further the really just base lower self habits that found us fucked up in the situation in the first place. And if you don't know what I mean getting loaded, being unsheltered, losing jobs, losing relationships, going to prison, fighting, being overall just generally disagreeable, even in recovery. Because I cannot be the only person. I know I'm not unique this way, but I peep it. Like, I look around and I'm like, damn, bro, you got X amount of years. It could be, 5, 10, 15, whatever the amount of years. But you're damn miserable still, and messy as hell. Now, call me crazy, but my idea of a practical version of recovery means, like, maybe not right away, and it didn't right away when I first got clean, but over time, things becoming clearer, improving, I'm growing, entering new spaces and becoming more open and more tempered by these different experiences that used to terrify me, right? That would elicit just like a fear response, and just like a reactionary response, default to whatever mode you want to insert there. Just not healthy. But if that isn't what recovery is looking like for you, now I'm not trying to take anybody's inventory, but I gotta wonder and ask the question, if that isn't what recovery is looking like for you, like if it's not even trending that way, I don't know, man. I don't know. I won't presume to tell anybody what to do or what they should do. But it would make me wonder. I guess thinking about it right now, I do get that there can be like these really exceptionally elevated expectations about what we think we deserve or should see at different points in recovery, and I think that's a risky road to travel. Not that wanting more for yourself isn't good, but I think the word that I'm looking for is realistic, And I might even venture to say that in the back of our mind, low-key, we set these expectations sometimes that high, kind of as a reservation, right? Like, so we can not get there or not have it and then do kind of the same old shit that we always do. Some of our default defense mechanisms or survival mechanisms, like, well, this has got to be bullshit because I put in XYZ amount of time and effort, and this category list of things has not come to fruition. Well, check this out, player. So I don't know. Sometimes I think like within certain contexts that's realistic, but certainly not in fucking recovery, because it's really, man, a lot of it is time dependent. You know, it takes a lot of time for different things to be, I don't know about revealed, but I guess maybe, but for us to be able to have the vision, you know, and that vision, there's only one way to acquire that vision, and that's just with experience, man. You know, other things at play too, like willingness and openness and accepting good from any source and the kind of shit that I talk about that's really, really hard and not simple. But are really like requirements. And then you have to, you know, ask some harder questions. At least I do, about, well, for one, my overall general utility. What do I mean by that? I've talked about it before, but I guess you could simplify that by saying, like, what am I contributing? You know, because while recovery is a selfish program, the irony in it is too, like, at the same time, in the same breath even, we can say that, but then also say, I only keep what I have by giving it away. So that's one of the reasons why I do this podcast, and I keep visible, again, a practical version of recovery, to tell people, like, listen, bro, like, these are the things that I did with regard to getting clean. These are the things that I did when I was out getting loaded. This is what my life looked like before. This is what happened. These are the things that weren't my fault. These are the things that were my fault. These are the steps that I took. Maybe some of that stuff will work for you. Maybe it won't. But under the larger umbrella of I guess all things being relative, you gotta just kind of gut it up, man. Gut up and recognize that, I don't know. I want to say this the way that it translates and makes sense in my mind, but I want to be mindful of how that might impact people too. Because I don't want to turn anybody off to the message, right? Because this is important, but you can look at my experiences or any other, like, men. I mean, women can take you know, guidance from my experience too, but just in general, men can look at my experiences and be like, well, shit, this is a pretty, and not just me, but other dudes with recovery, like, as a general template. And he's be like, okay, well, I'm going to take him out, but the template is still there, right? The practice, the habits, the behavior, the routine, you know, all that stuff is still there. And just start molding it until it more or less fits, right? Comfortable, perfect fits, I don't know that those exist, because this is a dynamic process, and the way you look and feel now isn't going to be the way you look and feel with another 6 months of recovery, with another year of recovery, with another 2 years of recovery, with another 5 years of recovery. So you have to modify and update and adapt to, you know, new levels in life and new levels of recovery, new levels of spirituality, all the stuff. You can't just be, I mean, you do whatever the fuck you want, but, you know, if you want more, I don't mean more money, like, that's fine, money's a great tool, I want more money, I ain't gonna lie about it, but if you want more out of this life, if I want more out of this life, it takes constant reflection, it takes constant refinement, it takes a willingness to ask questions of, you know, the people who are close to me, and listen. Don't, you know, just an exchange of time and listen Even if they don't know that's what you're doing, but peep the game. Listen to what they're saying, and they will tell you how you affect them and what they need from you. And if it matters to you, you'll take it seriously. This doesn't mean, again, because I don't know anything about perfect. I don't know anything about getting shit right 100% of the time, but, you know, you get better at getting shit right more often than you don't. Yeah, it's a practice, man. And it works. It definitely works. And just to circle back and touch on, you know, the flip side of that coin. If you're new in recovery, I'm sure that you have your own version of events about how, well, you have to, but you have your own version of events about how addiction has impacted your life, what you've given it, what you want to take back from it, what you can't take back from it, what is essentially just lost forever, because that's a reality. Some of the shit we can't get back. We can grow new ones, but some of like the stuff we can't get back that we gave away. But I say that to say, man, listen, by all means, find a community where you feel supported, where you feel loved, where you feel heard and seen, because that's important, especially in early recovery, and hold on to it. Go there. Listen more than you speak, and, you know, put some of that advice into action. And you don't even have to ask all the questions. Just pay attention, and people will tell you things. Watch their demonstrations. Like, okay, I see how bro did that. You know, I'm gonna do it. But one thing I would suggest that you try your best to stay away from is living other people's experiences. Shit, bro. Like, if you ain't ever shot dope, I haven't either. Don't lie and say that you did, or try to identify with you know, emotions that are attached to that kind of stuff. I can't tell you nothing about it. You know, up until the end of my active addiction, I couldn't even really tell you a lot about doing dope. But in the last 3 years of my active use, I sure the fuck could. That again, man, just you gotta live your story, bro. That's it. In the confidence in placement that you're looking for, that comes from living your, I'm not gonna say truth, from living your experience, from living your life and minding your own fucking business and solving your own fucking problems. That's where that comes from. It doesn't come from trying to get it from a group of people or anybody else. It comes from what I just said. Period. And you ain't gotta agree with me. I know I'm right. That is literally owning your destiny. Learning how to solve your own problems. And sometimes we need to ask for help. And it's cool. Don't be afraid to ask for help. I just saw someone, my coach actually posted a short video the other day that said, in this life, ask for as much help as you need, often and all the time. Never be shy about it. That's what our human brothers and sisters are here. One of the things what we're here to do for one another is to be of service. And especially in this program, especially if you want to stay clean. That is a requirement. You have to be of service, no matter what it looks like. Now that could mean going to the hall, whichever hall, you know, suits your fancy. Going to the hall, making coffee, sweeping, picking up cigarette butts, putting something in front of yourself, being of service. Openly and candidly sharing your story with the entire internet. Not that the entire internet tunes in and peeps with anything that I say, but shout out to the 53 y'all that do. And other ones, because I know there's a lot more than 53, but people just don't want to subscribe. They just want to peek and not speak. And that's cool. It's all about just getting the message out. But the point is still the same. Getting outside of yourself, being a free and cheerful giver of your time and energy, right? And not expecting anything in return. But low key, like, we know that we get a little something in return, but that's not the point. You get it. And lift weights. And that's not a joke. You don't have to do it to the degree that I do, but lift weights. Like if you want to talk about like a longevity hack, a health hack, a life hack, lift weights like 3 times a week. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. Just you don't even have to go to the gym. Anything is a resistance training, right? So you can be body weight. It can be actual weights in the gym, whatever. Just get your body moving. Use it or lose it. That's what they say, right? Same thing with the mind and the spirit. But anyway, if you ain't do it on the way in, think about doing it on the way out. Hit that like, subscribe, post notification bell so you can stay up to date on all the shit we talk about here on the Bees Like That podcast. Peace, y'all.